Hello, my name is Brandy Hofer. Welcome to Color Me Happy Community. I am so happy to have you here. I'm currently on vacation for the first time in 2 years, which is fantastic. A real one with an airplane. But I am with my kids. So is it a vacation? No, it is. We've done lots of hiking and seen the ocean, and it's been absolutely wonderful. Yeah? So in this episode we have Verna Brown. She's an amazing artist, and we talk about imposter syndrome. So how she didn't feel like she was allowed. Oh my gosh, they're in your room. In your room. Why don't you go look? Yeah, Daddy is sleeping. How come we've been up so long? Anyway, imposter syndrome. So she never felt like she almost like deserved to be in the art world. And we talked about that and her overcoming it. And she definitely shouldn't have it because she's so talented, so ambitious, so driven, and willing to learn absolutely anything. And I just always... Yeah. I'm so in awe of her drive and willingness to learn. And willingness to find community too and work with other people. And she's just like one of those people who the sun kind of follows around. She's so positive and so beautiful. So I know you'll really enjoy this episode. Be sure to check out and join our sketchbook project. So this is free, and we've been posting it in our community. And on our blog, you can find all the steps at once, or you can find the daily, like every second day, we'll call them daily cues of the next activity to do. And you can be an artist, you can be a person who's not an artist, who just wants to get creative. You can be young or old, or it really is for everyone. It's super approachable and really fun. And I've done some terrible things and I've done some great things in my sketchbook. So there's definitely no pressure, and we want to hear from you. We want you to share them. We want you to feel free to message anytime, and feel free to join our free community as well. Feel free to free. Enjoy this episode, and we'll talk to you when I get back from holidays.
Yeah, we're good. We're golden. Hello, Verna Brown.
Hi, Brandy.
How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Good. Thanks for being here. I'm so excited because you're so amazing, and I've had the pleasure to get to know you, not in person, but online over the course of it's got to be almost 3 years now.
Yeah, I was looking back at some numbers, and I can't believe we've been meeting for 3 to 4 years.
Yeah. Wow. Yes.
Quick.
Oh my gosh. And just to think, like, back then when I was afraid to send an email to subscribers, I just remember specifically in that group, everyone's like, yeah, emails, like sending emails is really important. I was like, ugh, it's kind of like the worst. Yeah. Now it's obviously a normal thing. It's normalized in my practice, but yeah, thank you. So I want to talk about how we met because we're talking about it already. We met through Thrive when Thrive, so anyway, we met through Thrive. Thrive, you can still be a member and of their community, just not in the same way that we were. I don't think that's available any longer, but we stayed in our group because we all clicked really in a lovely way. And those connections and finding your tribe and your people are just like so important, especially because, you can say, I was afraid to send an email, and my friends and my people who have been with me the whole time are like, no. And it's just like the amazing amount of support and people who have similar interests as like you do. Yeah. So Verna, I want to learn, well, for everyone else, I already know, but you are an artist based out of BC. So just, talk a little bit about yourself, where you're from and your practice.
Well, you mentioned being afraid to be in the group. When afraid to send emails, when I started out selling art, and I started my business, actually just celebrated our 5th year birthday as a business. And I was terrified. I was terrified to even join the group because who did I think I was? I'm going to join a group of artists.
Well, look behind you, like, oh my gosh, right? No,
Yeah.
you're amazing.
Just to learn that artists are just people, right? They're
Mhm.
just people creating really cool stuff and contributing to the world. That was another thing to realize, was that, you know, it's not just a business, we're contributing to the world. And anyway, what I do, mostly my business is custom pet portraits, which you can see some behind me now. I paint wildlife, and I use a lot of different mediums when I'm not doing commissions. I get to mess around with watercolor and ink and glazing, and I have all kinds of different subjects that I paint when I'm not doing the pet portraits. So anywhere from abstract to, I've done sports equipment. I mean, what a funny thing to paint, right? Just sports equipment. But it's really neat when you can start painting textures and different colors and light and shadows. Sometimes the subject doesn't even really matter.
Yeah,
So
you're
anyway,
creating.
yeah, I like that I get to paint. I like that my business pays for itself and I'm not spending all my money on art supplies anymore.
Yeah, no,
I enjoy being part of the community too. I've done a couple of murals, and that really exploded into more of a community involvement. And that has been a lot more fun than I thought it would be. Yeah.
Yeah, murals are a fun thing to get into, although like very like they come with their own set of challenges for sure. Um, just like, first of all, blowing something up large scale is always a challenge, right? And figuring out how to make it stay on a wall. Just like things you think about, they're like, oh yeah. So, and sometimes I want to have like one of the like Kevin Leto, he's a muralist, and he does these like giant portraits. Like he has one of Leonard Cohen in Montreal, and I just like, I know the techniques because I myself have done like a portrait on a 40-foot wall, but it's like a 200-foot high wall, and I'm just really genuinely curious. And I don't think you can get really an exact, like, I know some people do doodle grids and big grids, but it's different when you're on a crane and you're a foot from the wall with your face, and to know where you are. Like, I just can't wrap.
When you're painting an eyelash that's a half a foot thick, that's
yeah,
just an eyelash.
you're like, where am I and what am I doing? Like, really, it's something. It takes a special person, or I don't know. Like, I have so many questions.
Yeah.
So many questions. I want to have I'm gonna say that out in the universe. I want to have a muralist who, like, we've done, you know, community. Yeah. Sorry,
I mean, when you get to doing murals that size, you're looking at a whole team.
Yeah, no, they are. A lot of them, who's the one from BC too? There's yes, like it's her and her husband, and yeah, it's like someone does the digital, like the math about it and how it's gonna be. Or yeah, like sometimes cities hire like big teams from like Spain or something to come in and do, you know, in 3 days or something, do their building. And yeah, it's definitely its own industry, for sure. And it's so cool. It's so cool. But I'm really proud of you for taking it on. They're colorful. You're doing a great job. Like, were you scared taking that initial step?
Yeah, when my friend Sonia from Forever Yours Lingerie asked me to do the first mural, that's not where I operate. I operate in my studio on canvas, and that I knew would be a whole different kind of paint, different size brushes, and being in the outdoors painting in different weather. But my new mantra when I started the business 5 years ago was be afraid and do it anyway. So
Nice one.
I said, you know what, I'll do it. We'll see what happens. And it turned out amazing. I was able to paint it in my yard. So we painted on panels and attached them to the fence, painted the whole thing there. I did it by grid work, which is not how I normally operate. I usually use a projector and just freehand sketching. So this was a whole different process. Again, totally different paint, dries super fast in sun and I painted in the
Yeah.
heat of the summer. So yeah, big sombrero
Get a little
hat,
grass in there. Right? I
bugs.
painted outside this summer and I was like, fucking grass. I was so mad. I was just like, but yeah, it was just like my kids were outside, so I had to finish some
Yeah.
stuff outside. But yeah,
And you
it's
know,
stuff you don't think about.
and I treated it like a canvas. I treated it like I treat my canvases, that I wouldn't let, after my husband mounted it to the fence, I wouldn't let him touch it again because he would get it dirty or mark it or scuff it.
Yes.
But then we had to take it down and transport it to the location. So I had wrapped each of these 4x8 boards that I painted hours and hours on. I wrapped them in pool noodles and furniture blankets. And I get down to the site and we're offloading them from the truck. And the guy is there. He's put the framework on the building so that he can attach the panels. And he's dirty and grubby. He's been working. He's just manhandling these panels. And he's putting drilling holes into it wherever. And I'm like, oh my God.
Oh, yeah. The nightmare, right? Of like the finished product is like, it's something else. You know, in your
But
mind.
it was no longer my mural.
I'll just put it up there. It'll be fine. And then like the actual whole, it's like, oh, it's so much stress.
Well, you're giving your baby to the world and it's public art. So once I delivered it, it now belongs to the community and the commissioner, and they get to do with it whatever they like. And I mean, it looks great. I was so worried that all those little marks they were making were going to show up, but you don't see that when you're far away taking your photos and stuff of murals. You don't see the minute marn that's on it.
No. Yeah. No, people don't notice as much as you think, obviously, that they're going to. Like, you hope they don't. But yeah, it's pretty cool. And then you did some this summer too, this past summer, didn't you? You did some more.
I worked with a muralist in Langley here, Judy Pohl, and her and I she is the person I asked, hey, I'm doing this mural. I don't know what I'm doing. And she was willing to share some of her knowledge, and we really clicked. And she started doing a couple murals, asked me to come and help. And
oh, great.
Yeah, I did the SPCA, sorry, it's the Surrey Animal Shelter. They had a museum donate these giant cement dinosaur eggs from their dinosaur show. And they put these dinosaur eggs at the end of the driveway to the entrance of their facility. And we got to paint pet portrait style on these giant eggs.
Oh,
then
that's
we did.
Really cool.
It was really cool.
Yeah,
again, being part of the community, when I stop in to make my monthly donations, everybody who works there knows who I am. They're really happy to see me because they see the art every day when they come to work. They come in, that's the first thing they see.
Yeah, it's just like a way of spreading joy, and it means a lot to children too. Like, it's a really good example in the community to children. Like, just see that, you know, you can express yourself and it's a beautiful thing, and that's a way you can be involved in your community. Like, it gives them just like that other option of expressing themselves. So it's so great. So also we have some other women too that are in our group, and they're so great. And so how important do you think it is to have that consistent connection with other female creatives?
I missed a little bit of what you were saying, Brandy.
I said, how important is it to your practice to consistently meet with other female creatives?
Oh, you know what? I didn't realize how important that was going to be until COVID happened and we all got distracted, and I've had to miss some of our meetings, but it has changed my drive and my incentive being separated a little bit from our group. It gets you going. Like, it's almost like a cheering squad. Like, you can do it. We like what you're doing. Let's see more of this or more of that. We're all just people. Do your thing. All those messages that you get from meeting regularly, I haven't been getting that, and I notice because I've been missing some of the meetings. everything is slowed down.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
know
It's
that
kind of
that's
funny.
why.
It's like, oh, my group's not keeping me on track. It's true. And not only that, is a lot of times like you get this weird message and you're like, someone from your group or someone you met like told someone else about you, and
Yes.
you know what I mean, like, oh, I heard from Bushra is one of the people in our group who is a part of many groups.
Yes.
I know Bushra is very active in so many art groups, and so like, yeah, she's like, oh, have you heard of, and she's always so open about sharing and lifting others up, which I really, really love. And you get a real sense of that when you're in those communities.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. So do you think your practice is mostly like a lot of your time is taken up by your pet portraits, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. And do you enjoy that aspect?
I do. You know, I go through moments like you were talking about where you want to get away from commissions. And I go through periods like, oh, if I didn't have to paint 3 more dogs this month, I could get back to the sports series or to the
Yeah.
watercolor or do some more inks. And then it's funny because then if I don't have some orders, I start to miss it. And I'll get an order and I'm like, oh, yeah, this is so much fun. You get to read the stories, because all of my customers have to send me a story. So that helps me choose the colors. So it's funny. Careful what you wish for, right?
Yeah, no, exactly. And it does like provide some consistency to your practice, right? Like it makes you show up. And I feel like
Yes.
that's the hardest step is to any sort of self-motivated or self-employed position, is that is the biggest feat, is for people to consistently show up.
Yeah.
Like I set a personal goal of writing for 15 minutes a day and to finish my book, and it's really challenging. It actually, like, it sounds like nothing, but it really is. I'm just like, I owe my book an hour and 45 minutes now. Right? It's just like it gets you in, even if you don't feel like it, you develop a routine. Do you have a routine that you use?
Not in the last year, but I used to.
No, we need to have a meeting.
We do. I mean, that's why I say thank goodness for the pet portraits for Christmas, because it ignited that, okay, you have to reinstall your routine. So because I work a day job, I had a routine of I come home from the day job, I make my dinner, do a little bit of housework, and then I have a rest, whether that means literally having a nap or just a little bit of downtime with TV or, playing with the cats, just mellow out. And then it's at least 3 hours in the studio every evening. And then the weekends were as many hours as I could get in the studio. I did. So not having that routine for just about over a year, really, I got to start over fresh, because now I have my Christmas orders. I'm like, oh, you've got to reinvent that whole routine. Before, the routine was just like breathing. It's just what I did day after day. And now, like, oh, I gotta wait. You got to get down in that studio. You're an hour late.
Yeah. No, it is. It's funny how easily you can fall out of it. I know when I was doing, commissioned so hard that if I was doing something else at night, I don't have those hours at night anymore. Like my kids don't go to bed all at 7. It was very nice. And it was very, it was great, but it no longer happens because they go to bed about 8:30. So, by that time I'm like toast.
Yeah.
My studio manager says we turn into pumpkins. That's what she says. I don't know. It's a Cinderella reference that doesn't make sense, but she's like, I'm a pumpkin by 9. Yeah, and it really is. But if I didn't show up in the studio at night, I would hear music, because I always listened to music while I painted. So if I wasn't here, I would still start hearing, like, if I had been listening to like Feist's new album, I would start singing and hearing Feist in my head. It's so weird how, like, your body affects creativity, and your mind craves it almost. Like it's really good for you. I was burnt by the end of all that, though. I was burnt out, and like you said, that's why I had decided to I knew it was a long time coming, and talking about it for years, how I needed to slow that down and find a different creative outlet. And just, yeah, fall in love with paint. Not that I fell out. It's just I needed to fall in love with painting for me again.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it is a lot of communication with others and stuff like that. So, but I don't say no. I just don't say that I do it so much, you know?
Yeah.
And I like the odd ones that roll in. Like I got one from Hawaii and I was like, how did she even hear about me? Like it's so weird. But
Yes.
do you know the bird's papaya?
I've heard this. Yes.
The bird's
Why is
papaya
that
is a
familiar?
woman. Her name is Sarah, and she is from Canada too, and she promotes like positive body image. And so I had sent her an original artwork of her and her baby because she had like postpartum body, like she freely shares definitely like every postpartum moment, and it's beautiful. So I had painted it, and this woman from Hawaii saw it. And it's so crazy how stuff like neat things can happen.
Yeah.
That's why I haven't said like I'll never do one ever again, but I really enjoy those moments that the universe kind of throws at me, and they are special to people too, right? Do you find that like people really treasure these things?
Yeah. I have a couple of people who have actually taken my art and turned them into tattoos.
Oh my
And
gosh, so cool. Me too,
yeah,
but I did it. I was like, what?
I
It's
know.
like
I didn't. I mean, to know that your art moved somebody so much that they want to put that on their body.
yeah, your art is a little more tattooable than mine, though. It was just really like an odd medium because mine's so like random marks. And like yours, I think, yeah, would bode well as a tattoo. Mine was a bit surprising. Nothing against the tattoo artist or anything, but I was like, whoa, interesting. Nice.
Yeah. But it's one of those things where you're going along and you're thinking, well, I'm just doing my own ordinary thing. It's not special. And then you have that person who like you're like, it must be special if someone from Hawaii is contacting me. It must be special if somebody wants to put it on their body.
It must be I hope so.
Yeah. So
right?
these amazing little reminders.
Yeah. I feel like every month you should kind of like go over your month almost and write down the kind of like weird, really amazing parts of, because I, especially now at this time of year, I have a hard time. Like, I don't know what's going on, but I'm having a hard time with like negative self-talk. And it's like, give yourself a break. And I feel like it would be really helpful to, write down a few of the cool things that have happened in the last month, in the last few months, or the last year. And I think it would set you back on track, right? Like, because there are really special things that we do, and it's a great gift to have. Like,
yeah,
it's pretty cool at
yeah.
the end of the day.
I mean, it's one thing to love doing your craft, but then that's sometimes the fuel. Is the compliments or knowing what your art is doing in the community and what effect you're having that's beyond your own little world. I mean, we're going to paint regardless. We're going to color things regardless, but I don't know about all the other artists, but I like to get that little cherry every now and then.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's a part of who you are. And it ebbs and flows, and it's changing. Like, you can't expect it to stay the same. It changes with you, right? Yeah. So do you still do markets?
I haven't done a market since COVID.
Yeah.
I don't miss them.
No.
I thought I was going to miss them. I've been getting orders from people. Most of my orders over the last year and a half have been return customers or friends and family of previous customers. And every day when I look at the numbers, when I'm sending out an invoice or putting in a payment, the business part of it, I'm so grateful for my customers because that they're keeping me going.
Mm-hmm.
For exactly what we talked about earlier. If not for the money to keep the business itself going, but just that order that comes in that makes me go back in the studio. Because just getting in the studio, working on a commission or an order, or even pulling out some cards or some prints that somebody may want, I'm back in the studio and I'm looking around. I'm getting little bits of ignition, like, oh, I got to get those watercolors out. Oh, my chalks, I haven't touched those in ages. What about those oil sticks? And you get inspired just being in the room.
It is. It does like click on kind of. And I always, when I get in here, I'm like, okay, put on your music, because that's just gonna, it's like another someone else's creative medium kind of like feeding yours.
Totally.
Yeah. I had a professor, actually, see, I'm in my Red Deer College shirt. I had a professor, so old. I'm not so old. My shirt's getting older. It's back in style. We talked about that. It's back in style. So I held on. I got it out of a memory box. I was like, So my old David Moore. Yeah, he was an Alberta artist in Calgary. I'm not sure if he's still at RDC. But he said he couldn't listen to music because it so affected him and his practice that he would get so wrapped up in all the music that his paintings would just like, he couldn't keep control of it. I just thought, I love that element, that you're kind of out of control and you're like, inspired by someone else and their mood and their words, or how they decide to put those 12 notes together. I feed off that. I just like I mean, everyone's different, but I just could never understand that. When he said it, I was like, yeah, okay, but yeah, everyone's so different. You are.
Yeah.
I don't know. There, you're kind of back now.
Well, okay, so since I'm back, I also listen to music when I paint.
Okay.
But I can't listen to podcasts when I paint. Interestingly, because in our group, you guys, we're all sharing the latest podcasts that we listen to that inspire us to create and learn more about having art as a business. So what a great way to learn and create at the same time. But I cannot listen to the podcasts when I'm painting. Yours in particular, I should tell you, your podcast always makes me cry.
Oh, no. Sorry.
There's always a moment in there where you get really real. And I'm like, oh, I can't cry and paint, Brandy. But I can listen to your podcast when I'm not painting.
I can cry. No, I can't listen to podcasts when I'm painting. Or even like working, like if I'm writing or anything, like it's just like not happening. Yeah. That's why I only can listen to them if I'm driving, which doesn't happen very often. Like if I'm going somewhere. So I don't really get to listen to a whole lot of podcasts, unfortunately, but it's the best way to kill time on a drive. Like it keeps you aware. It's so awesome. Mine, I didn't know what made you cry so much. So sorry. I'm starting to, I decided, because I have like moments of like, I just have something to say, and I'm going to call them the rogue episodes, where I just like, because I tend to go off, but just reading passages from my book and inspiring people to see their everyday ordinary is extraordinary.
Don't apologize for it. It just makes you more real. That's that's part of the whole not letting the term being an artist be so intimidating. It's just everyday people who cry on their podcast and tell funny stories, and they happen to make art. They don't have to be intimidating. You can learn from each other. Don't avoid other artists because you're intimidated, because you have so much to learn from them.
Yeah, and a lot of people, if you have a question for them, they'll answer it. Like I answer every email, every message. So you just have to think that there are other people out there who are that kind, and they are just working at it bit by bit every day, just like you are. They're trying to figure stuff out too. It's just a different bag of marbles. I don't know if that's a saying.
I think
different for everyone.
I think the other thing to remember as an artist is that when another artist is approaching you, they're not necessarily trying to learn all your secret techniques so that they can, undercut you.
No.
Usually the questions from other artists are, how do you find the time? Like, how do you organize your bills? How do you know what shows to go to? How
Yeah.
often are you applying? It's not about stealing your technique. And I
No,
think
it's
that
genuine. Although we do have one friend who did have a horror story, but that doesn't happen very often. That's actually the only time I've ever heard someone do that. It's terrible.
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it is like we're all just trying to learn, and I love that sense of community that a lot of creatives have and are so open and honest about it. It's great. It's
Yeah.
lovely.
Yeah.
Danielle Kryza is Danielle Kryza, the jealous curator.
Yes.
I think it was her who said she watches Netflix and she watches movies while she paints in her studio all day. I couldn't believe that when I heard it. That might have been on a podcast or something. I'm just like, how on earth could, and it's just her kind of version of like chilling in white noise, right?
Yes.
I'm like, I can't even fall asleep if I put on a movie at night, like I have to see to the very end. Like,
Oh, okay.
there's no, like, I am super into movies. I have to see and hear every moment. And
Yeah. That's
because I
interesting
find
because
it a creative experience.
when I get a watercolor order or I'm in the mood to paint watercolor, I that is equipment that I can actually take with me out of the studio and watch a movie or a
Oh,
sitcom
really? Just a
and
way of
paint.
relaxing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Mine's such like, it's so expressive that clearly it needs a lot of space.
It's huge.
Yeah, like so 6-footer behind me and the 8-footer behind me. Yeah,
Yeah.
some things require space, and I could see. Yeah, sometimes I've worked smaller, and watercolor, and like you can sketch and stuff a bit smaller. I remember I tried earlier when Gus was a baby to like do it in the living room on a tiny scale. So I'm just like, need to make something. I'm so sad. I wasn't sad. I was just like, your first baby, you're lonely and underslept. It's just the way it is. And it was a way of connecting to myself again.
Yeah.
Now it's like a lot crazier. There's no loneliness here. I'm so not alone at all.
No, and you're busy. I don't know what happened. A year after I met you in our group, something happened. I don't know if it was after the baby was born or what, but you just seemed to suddenly access all the ideas that are floating in the universe, and you were just like grabbing like 8 at a time. And there was suddenly was, I can't tell you because it's a surprise, but we're launching it in a couple of weeks. I'm like, how many surprises does this woman have? I have one surprise a year.
I think that's why I'm crashing so hard right now, is because I was on such a I was so excited.
Yeah.
Obviously some of those didn't work. Some did work really great and they were great surprises. And then obviously like a book, I'm still very excited about. It's just like a long-term project.
Yeah.
Much
Well, hey,
longer than you think.
and you mentioned like that's why you're ready to crash. But Sarah Still is an artist. I purchased a piece of her art and I follow her on Instagram. But she just posted this wonderful little quote that your quiet times are still part of your creating time. Because you need that quiet time just to still things, because you can start to feel really frantic. And that's going to show in your art. So that crash may be a good thing, right? I'm just going to take a break now. I'm just going to have some quiet.
Yes, exactly. And it's just like Katerina Popova, she said once to me, she's like, there is just a season for everything, and you just have to like accept it and go with it and enjoy it. And because there's a season for where you feel like doing this and you just don't feel like doing that.
Yes.
And I think I was so go for so long. It's just like coming off of something, right? have been, going off that for so long. You're just used to how, it's hard to explain, but
being part of our community, having you in our group at a time where you were accessing and actually grabbing onto all those ideas was also feeding your group, right? Because you're sharing your energy with us. And so, I'm like, oh, I'm going to grab an idea or two. If Brandy can grab onto 8, certainly I can grab onto 2 or 3 and see which ones manifest, right? Like, to see other people doing it, it's like the 2-minute mile all over again. It's achievable. It's something you can do. It's really important part of being in that community.
Yeah, for sure. It is. And and that's the biggest thing. Like, you can do it. Why can't you? Why can't you? There's no reason. It might take longer than you think or not. Definitely, this is one thing. It won't go the way you plan it. It won't. It just won't. We have no control over that aspect. But it's fun, and you have to enjoy all that goes along with it, right? You really have to enjoy. And then if you don't enjoy some of it, that's just not for you, right?
Yeah.
You're like, okay, I tried, and that's like I'm finding with one of my things was like, I'm gonna sell stuff on Amazon, and I've been trying really hard for a long time, and maybe it's just not for me, right? Like I just it's Amazon. It's really hard. And for some people, and probably for some people who got in it at the proper time, like I feel like it's getting to the point where it's flooded with larger companies that like it's hard for a small business. Not that saying you shouldn't, and you shouldn't try to do something or sell yourself short. It's just like, for example, me selling a high-end print makes sense from my website because all my other prints are a high-end print from the same market. But when you put it against a company who is able to mass produce thousands of, probably more than thousands of prints a day, when they sell them for 25% of the cost of yours and have it in that overflooded market of Amazon, it's just like you're a very small fish in a very big sea. And, they have the ad spend money, and they have like, it's just so many more elements that, and, it's not to say you can't figure it out. I'm sure if you wanted to.
You can,
trying to figure that out.
I think it was 2000.
There's no shame in giving some things up because it leaves energy for something more important. Like I said, sorry, I want to hear what you have to say too, but I said no to something this week specifically. And I just couldn't fit it in. It was like at a not good time for myself and my family. It's a chaotic time of day. It was at the morning where we get everyone to school. It's just like, I'm just like, I really want to say yes. I usually say yes, but I can't this time. I'm so sorry. Yeah. And that same time, for the time that I did have, like once we get everyone to school an hour later, I got an opportunity for a mural meeting, like taking on a large scale mural. And it came up just like right after I said no to something. So it just like, sometimes it's okay to say no. And sometimes it's okay. And this is something I'm just learning, is to let go of something that's maybe not working and sucking that energy that you need to do something great, something that you love, something that you can hang on to.
Yes, absolutely.
I interrupted you. Do you remember what you had to say?
We were talking about trying things and seeing if you like them or not. And sometimes you find out you didn't like them. I wrote a book. I put it on Amazon, and I didn't think I could do that, but I just started writing. My friend challenged me. I just started writing this little book. I was between jobs, and then self-publishing on Amazon Books. And you have to, I'm not tech savvy, but there's a little bit of tech involved when you're accessing and uploading and downloading. And it's still there on Amazon. You can go buy it if you want. It's 99 cents. But as it turns out, I was motivated by doing that because, wow, I really can do something that seems insurmountable and beyond your technology skills. I could probably write another one and put it up there now that I know I've done it. You
It
know,
won't
I
be
don't
yet.
think I'm
So,
gonna,
you
but
know, won't be so, yeah, it's scary. Those things are scary. And you're right. You need to do those things that are scary every day almost, because you just don't want to, later in life, um, think that I could have done that. I know I could have, and I just was a little afraid and I did it. That's the worst feeling. At least you can say, I gave it a decent go,
yeah,
right? I
yeah,
tried very hard, and maybe the next thing or maybe something. But again, when you do let something that go that is taking all that energy, or you say you're working full time at a job and you really hate it, maybe that's something you should let go of too. I know it's hard financially sometimes, but it does make time and energy for those things. Or
yeah,
something might surprise you, like a lot of things. So I did, like you said, I put like so many things out there, and they led to places that I did not expect at all. And to nothing's in contract or in writing yet, but I think I think it's led to some career choices that I definitely will really fill my cup and be more important in a way that I never expected.
oh,
And impact other people's lives. And
Sorry, could you say that again? I couldn't hear what you said.
okay, I will say it again. Oh my gosh, they're always listening. So great. But it is, and there's another thing I can't say because it will be a surprise.
yeah,
I think that it, yeah, will really be fulfilling and fit into my life right now with my children in a way that will be so good for myself and the community. So I'm really excited, and I can't say more about it. And I'd love to, and I'm sure one day everyone will hear it, and maybe by the time I put this out, I can shout it to the world. But it's funny where, like, for example, my course, like I knew putting my course out, like it was a really beautiful course. And it's still there. It's really beautiful. And I knew that I didn't have the learning audience, because along the time when I made it, I was like, no fear, I'm going to do whatever I want. But you do have to think about in long term how you're going to execute it in terms of marketing,
yeah,
in terms of putting your energy into something and having a way to sell it. So my audience loves to be inspired, but do they want to learn this specific topic? So that was something I didn't think about. So by the time it was ready, I was like, if I'm going to launch this, I am so aware that I don't have that learning audience set up yet. Like, not saying that it won't be there, but I don't have, like, yeah, it's just not where my audience is at. They like prints, they like custom art, and they like being inspired by my narrative and story. They might buy my book, hence why I'm writing a book, but maybe they probably, and so, and I'm like, but it's really great. And I did it anyway. And it didn't sell like a hot cake or anything, but it didn't do poorly. And the thing is, it made me do a course. It made me learn about how to market it. It made me learn, like, it made me put together something educational, and that whole process too. And then I was contacted by the Milan Institute because of that course. And then they really want to be involved with, my teaching style and engage with that audience that I have. And so that was something unexpected that happened, because I'm like, I feel like I should do this. I know maybe financially it won't pay off, but I'm going to do it anyway.
yes.
So, and it took a few months for that to happen. So I was like, oh, okay, so I did that. Cool. And,
Yeah.
so you don't always know, but
You don't know. When I did those eggs for the Surrey Animal Resource Center, it inspired a teacher in town because her and her class were doing pet portraits.
mm-hmm, cute.
so they visited the Animal Resource Center to get pictures of the animals there. And then the students would paint the animal that they took the pictures of. And while they were there, they saw the eggs, the portraits on them, the murals on them. They went inside and the people told her who I was. So she, instead of teaching her class about how to paint animals abstract / realistic with crazy colors like I do, why not let somebody who's already doing it teach the kids? So she invited me to come and teach these high school students how to paint animals. Well, I'm not a teacher. I never took any art classes. I've been learning here in my studio by myself, but it was really cool to go in, take a bunch of my art, talk to all these young people, see that some of them are really inspired by what I do, and actually be able to teach them a little bit. I had no idea that was on the horizon.
Yeah, no, exactly. I bet you were good at it too.
I don't know. I think that they put out, well, I got to be involved in the aftermath because they sent me pictures of all their artwork and how much money they raised for the center by selling them. They had a little auction. Teach high school students how to paint? No, that's okay. But I got to go do it. And
exactly.
It was cool.
That is, and you impacted, and you know what? I bet a lot of those students will remember that for the rest of their lives.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And Verna, so why I wanted to have you on it specifically is because you are a self-taught artist and you've gone at this just kind of, it's really brave, your journey, and it's so inspiring. And you always, you have that ability to say yes, even though you don't know where it will lead and you don't know exactly why you're doing it. And so I just love that part of your story. And I remember in our group when you were like, well, I don't have my degree. And I would just kind of almost get mad. I'm like, it doesn't matter.
I remember that.
Such a great job. You just don't need it. There's just so many ways you can learn now, just through experiencing it. I mean, I'm not discounting education. There are essential things that I learned and that people can learn. And I think the Milan Institute has a course that you can do in a year. Like they put like 4 years into one, which is crazy. Yeah, I'm really excited to hear more about what they do. But it's just, I think I've learned more through life, about the realities of the way it all works. And not saying I know everything, I'm learning every day, but definitely, I love your bravery.
Thank you. And I think that we are living in a time where we don't have to necessarily rely on universities and colleges to get the education, like, how to mix colors, the scientific part of it, right? Because look at the internet and all these creators, artists are sharing their technique. You can pay monthly, you can pay by course. Some of them are sharing it for free, but you can learn color mixing online. I'm not taking away from going to university or anything like that. I really, there's lots of courses and things I would still like to go and learn. But I think we're living in a time where the venues of getting that education are more diverse.
Yeah. And financially, for someone to attend university or anything like that, like that's, years of your life. That's a lot financially when you could probably be balancing life and your education, and it just makes more sense. I mean, when you are young, it is a learning experience too, and time feels different for sure. But to start being an artist, I don't think you have to wait. You know what I mean? Like, if you want to be a creative in any sort of medium, you can start. And that's the crazy, fun, like really exciting part of it.
Absolutely. It's never too late to start learning.
No, it's not.
Anything
you want. There's master classes and cool things and books and, always ways to learn.
Yes.
Okay, I have to go because everyone's.
I see you have a guest.
Yeah, emerging from their camps and naps, and my time is up. That's how it works. But it was so nice to see you, Verna, and so nice to chat.
Always.
It's lovely to see you. You're such a bright light.
Thank you, Brandy, for having me. And we didn't cry. We'll have to cry next time.
I didn't cry. No one cried. I have a final question sponsored by Red Bicycle Communications, the lovely ladies of. It is, I want you to it's called A Day in the Life. And I want you to describe your ideal, perfect day. Just one day.
Really?
Yeah.
Would you believe it doesn't even include art?
Yeah, I do.
Oh, anywhere on a tropical beach and being in the water with a margarita, people I love. That's an ideal day.
Oh, that sounds beautiful. I've been dreaming of the ocean. It's funny because I'm on the prairies in a landlocked province, but I sometimes dream of the ocean, just being in it. I gotta sell a course to get my island cabin or villa. It's gotta happen.
Yeah,
no,
I'll buy it.
I feel that the baby is sleeping, so we have to be super quiet. Okay. Everyone can find you on Instagram and your website.
Yes,
right?
at Verna Brown Art.
VernaBrownArt.com.
Yes.
And at Verna Brown Art on Instagram.
Correct.
Right? Okay. Yes. Yeah. You got to check Verna out because, like, if you're not on YouTube watching right now and you can't see what's behind her, you have to see them because they are amazing. And I have a Verna Brown piece in my home. It's a vagina.
Yes.
It's not a vagina. It's a whole. It's a whole piece of.
It's one of these.
Yes, a labia. Labia.
Yeah.
I should know this. This is bad.
And I have one of yours. So yeah.
It's amazing, and it's actually my son's favorite painting in our house. And you sent us a keychain, and he had it on his jacket. Oh, there's the baby.
Okay.
And one time, this little boy, they all play in our garage and stuff, and one of the neighbor boys had it in his hand, and I was like, hey, come back here, what have you got there? And he's like, oh yeah, I just got this from Superstore earlier. I was like, did you get it from Superstore? You sure that's not ours? Superstore is selling labia keychains now.
Well, I'm going to talk to them.
Just, the little boys love your paintings.
Of course.
I don't know what that says, but they're just so beautifully executed in 10, and I love your style and the colors you use. And okay, I better go get that guy.
I know you have a hard time saying goodbye at the end of your shows. I know. Okay, on the count of 3, Brandy, you were set you free to your family.
1, 2, 3. Okay, bye, Verna.
Bye.
Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you to our sponsors, Red Bicycle Communications and Nouveau Laser and Aesthetic Center. We have our weekly skincare tip from Nouveau. I'm going to do it again because enjoy the sun, because I'm on vacation. It's sunny. Always protect your skin. We suggest multiple forms of protection when you'll be outdoors all day. And that's even when it's raining. Oh my gosh. I swear as soon as I started doing this, they just got louder. Of course, right? That's how it works. So while you're enjoying the summer sun, make sure you cover up with hats and all that good stuff and sunscreen. I like the color science stuff because it has just it's tinted and it has these color matching beads, which is really cool. So it covers up any under eyes or blemishes, which is a bonus because I don't love makeup so much, especially as a busy mom. Be sure to again check out our community and share the love. Share what you're doing. Share if you like these episodes. Feel free to message me anytime and reach out and make friends in our community. And that's Color Me Happy Community on Facebook, and we have the links in the notes, the podcast notes. Okay, I'm gonna go and continue enjoying my vacation where I get no quiet time, basically. It's great.